Let's try that again. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me, Sharon Rice, the Makerspace Librarian here at the Rawlings Library, for Intro to Loom Knitting Parts 1 and 2. I've gotten a couple of phone calls about whether or not you need to watch these videos in order, and the answer is yeah, you kind of do. They will build on each other, so they're each about a third of a project worth of video. But that's okay because the cool thing about the Facebook video feature is that you can watch these videos after I air them. You don't have to catch them live. So if you go to the Rawlings Facebook page and look under videos, you can watch any of these videos in any order that you'd like. The other order of business that I have before we get to the loom knitting portion of this virtual program is that we had a snow day last Wednesday, so there was not a program. If you were wondering where it got snowed out. I wasn't here to air it. I was at home in my pajamas, which was fantastic. As a result, we're going to have two videos today, not just one. So please make sure you stay tuned for both of those videos because it will be how to start loom knitting and then also how to make a brim on your hat. I will pop in between both of them and share them with you one at a time. I do pre-film, so they'll be showing up as YouTube videos for any of you guys who are new. All right, I think that is all of the orders of business that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with video 1 of 2 for loom knitting this evening. Hold on one second, okay? Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me for our first in the series of Loom Knitting Basics. My name is Sharon Rice. I am the Makerspace Librarian here at the Rawlings Library. And this program is being done as a part of the Winter of Reading. Um, Watching this program will give you a space on the board for a virtual um, program attendance, but also we are doing a maker challenge here at the Rawlings Library. And if you make some loom knit hats and enjoy the process, please do feel free to come in and donate your hats here at the Idea Factory on the second floor. And I will take them to Posada or one of the rescue missions so that we can keep all of our citizens of Pueblo warm and cozy this winter. All right, that's the logistics out of the way. So let's go ahead and get started on how to do loom knitting. First and foremost, this is a knitting loom. Huh. Um, This is a little bit smaller than what you would probably use to make an adult hat. The reason being is that I need to do this somewhat quickly, so I'm using a slightly smaller loom. That's okay. Um, they come in lots and lots of different sizes. If you just look up adult hat size knitting loom on Amazon, you should find them. They also have them at Hobby Lobby and Joann Fabrics here in Pueblo. This one came with 3 different loom sizes. The other ones are smaller. A loom hook, which is a really important tool. You'll need to use this. A yarn and a yarn needle. Here's an optional tool I have. I have a stitch, a row counter stitch marker here. This helps me keep track of how many rows I've done because I often have to put my work down. I got this one from Sassy Fiber Tools. If you're interested in picking up one yourself, head on over to Artisan Textiles. She has a display there. All right, let's get started. I'm using chunky yarn. This is, I love this yarn chunky. I also got that at Hobby Lobby. It's not an expensive yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and it's a good weight to use on knitting looms. You don't want to use anything too thin, or you'll just have a lot of spaces for cold air to get in on your hat, and that's not a great idea. To get started, what we're going to do is make a slip knot. So you're going to make a circle and pull the working end of your yarn, which means the yarn that's attached to your ball, through. You have a slip knot. When you look at your knitting loom, you have this little button right here. that tells us where the going around the loom starts. We want to put our slip knot over the peg directly to the right of it. So we'll put that there, and to tighten it up, we'll tug on the end of the yarn that's the closest to the ball. So that's the working end of the yarn. All right, so that's also going to be our first stitch. To do the rest of the stitches on the loom, we're going to take the yarn behind a peg and wrap it around. This is called an E wrap. I don't know why, unless of course it looks like an E, but I just think it's relatively simple as long as you end up with your yarn behind the peg every time. So around and behind, around and behind, around and behind, around and behind, and just keep going as you go around the peg. And I'm going to turn this to this side too so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, if you can see that, I'm just going around and behind, around and behind, and I'm going to go all the way around the loom, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker. And then once you get the hang of this, you'll be able to go really fast. What's really nice about this knitting is that anybody really can do it. I know that my brothers and sisters have given it a try, and they're able to do it. So now we have that first row of stitches, but they're way up here at the top of the peg. So we're going to want to actually push them down so that they're on the bottom. And hold on to this because it's really easy to get your stitches unwrapped as you go. So I just have figured out that I need to hold on to that working yarn while I'm pushing everything down, or I will lose some of my stitches. All right. Okay, so here we are. All the way around is down at the bottom. So what are we going to do? We're going to wrap it around again. So here we go. So this particular loom that makes about a child-size hat is 30 pegs, and I think that the adult one is 36 pegs. But it has the same features, and when I'm able to do classes in person, I will have the adult size hats for the classes. It takes about an hour to finish a full hat once you're confident in what you're doing. All right, here we go. So there we go. You can see there's one stitch on top and one stitch on bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the stitch that has the tail, also the side that has the stitch marker on it, also the peg that's just to the right of that starting marker there on the loom. This is where we're going to take our knitting hook. We're going to tip this a little bit, insert it through the bottom loop and pull it over. And this is a part where I tell you, make sure you don't wrap too tightly because then you won't be able to grab those loops and pull them over comfortably. But here we go. See how we're doing that? Slide it through that groove that's on the peg, flip it over. You can also probably do this with a small crochet hook, but I recommend you getting a yarn or the loom hook like this. It makes things a lot easier because it's designed to go into that groove there on the knitting loom. And in case you're wondering, I'm holding on to that working yarn pretty tightly so it doesn't go on an adventure and everything unravel. It's just like regular knitting. If you let the yarn go and then pull it, everything will come right apart. All right, so we are getting close to the end of our first round of stitches. All right, we've done our first round, which means that on our counter, we can see it, I'm going to say I've done 1 round. All right, so in doing that, you've just learned the basics, the very basics of how to loom knit. To get started again, we're going to push everything back down to the bottom. And it gets a little easier as you get more on the pegs. Push it all back down to the bottom, and we'll wrap again. You're going to do this 14 times. For the pattern that I'm using, we're going to do 14 times, but as you get more comfortable, you can do it more or less. As we knit, it's going to come out the bottom and it's going to start to curl up. That's okay. We're actually going to make a fold brim hat where we put that curled end up here and knit those together so it's a double thickness. You don't have to do that. It can be just a roll brim hat if you want to, but the full brim hat is a nicer finish. So that's what we're going to be doing in this class, and that will be our next video. All right, guys, keep wrapping and knitting on your loom. Make sure you keep track of those rows, and I will see you back for our second video in the series where we make the brim. Until I get to see you next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep making, and have a wonderful day. Hi, everyone. All right, that was our first video in the series. So what I'm going to do is just go directly to the second video in the series, which is how to make the brim. I promise that video is a little bit shorter, and I will just go right to it. So give me just a second to cue that up. Hi guys, welcome back to Loom Knitting. This is our second part of the Loom Knitting class series that we have here at the Idea Factory. I get to film in the sunshine today, isn't that pretty? So in our first video, we figured out how to cast on onto our loom, and we started making our hat. If you recall in the first video, if you leave the hat like this curly edge here, you can make a roll brim hat, but we would like to not have that curly bit. I think it looks much more finished if we do a folded brim hat. So that's what we're going to work on here for the second video. I have done 14 rows here on my little row counter. You can see that I think you can see that I have 14 rows done and taken care of. You want to end this on an even row. You don't have to do 14. You could do 20 if you wanted a deeper brim hat, or 12 if you wanted a smaller brim hat, but I thought 14 was a good middle of the road amount. So what we're going to do is fold the brim over and kind of knit it onto itself. So if we go into the middle here, what we are looking for is this part. So this is where we tied our slip knot to get started. And if we can match the loop here that I'm sticking through my finger through up with the beginning of the round, which is where our marker is, and on this particular pegboard, I've also got this peg right here to tell me where the round starts. We should be able to match this up stitch for stitch and not get off. So what we're going to do is loop this over that peg right there, and we're going to move around finding the next loop. You can do this with the hook if you wanted. I think it's just as easy to do it with my fingers, but we'll go put that over there and do that kind of all the way around. I must have a snag on my finger now. Here we go. There's one. And try to pick them up from the same edge every time as you slide them over. And that will make it nice and neat and not have a weird bunch at the end of things here. And now I'll lay it flat so you can see it flat. This is the loop, and we're pulling it over. Put that down for now. There it is. There it is. As we flip around, you'll see that I honestly think it's easier to do this with my fingers. This part we won't need any yarn for. This is just knitting onto itself. This is actually something I do in regular knitting when I make brims for hats. I don't actually like the way that ribbing feels on my head. So see, look, I made a mistake there. Let's fix that. There we go. All right. As we go here in the sunshine, we're doing some moving around up here in the Idea Factory, so my filming space is a little bit different. It's fine, it means I get to have some natural sunlight. We're already almost here at the end. And if I've done this right, it'll all match up. And I did do it right, and it's perfect. Okay, so here we go. And we're gonna get started just the same way we did the other one. So we're gonna take our hook, go through bottom loop, and pull it over. And pull it over. And by now, I think, like me, you should be pretty confident in how to do this part. But it'd be weird if you didn't have a loom that has that groove. I hear some of them don't, but that groove is really helpful. Again, I got this loom at Hobby Lobby, not an affiliate. It did come with the hook, but if you find a loom somewhere, most craft stores sell the hook on its own. Also, if you lose it, I lose my fiber tools regularly. You can get it. This loom kit also came again with a yarn needle, but it's always a good idea to have lots of yarn needles on hand. If you're doing any sort of yarn related project, I have probably 50,000 of them. A good 25,000 of them are probably stuck in my couch. All right, and here we are. We are nearly done, and then I'll show you that we have a brim. All right, so let's push this down, and I'm going to turn it over. See, we've got this nice folded brim right around here. That's going to be the edge of the hat, and as you wear it, that brim will become more and more pronounced. It looks a little puffy when you first do it, but if you look real closely, I think that you'll be a lot happier with the way the fabric looks. So now this is going to be the bottom edge of the hat rather than that roll, and we're going to continue on as we go. You're going to want to do 45 more rows. Make sure you either mark your rows, use your little counter. I'm going to reset my counter here so that when we get to 45, I will know, because we're starting 45 from here going up. All right, guys, that's how we're going to do the roll brim of the hat. Tune in next week, and I will show you how to finish it off. So I'm not completely sure what my computer keeps doing here, but it keeps closing my tab. Anyhow, I'm glad that I am back, and I hope that you enjoy the program. If you guys have any questions, please comment on the videos. I will be able to see the comments, and I will respond. If you need any assistance whatsoever, please just let me know. You can even send me an email, sharon.rice@pueblolibrary.org, or stop in. I'm here Tuesdays through Saturdays in general. I think that's all that I have. I hope you guys enjoy making your hats and you get those 45 rows done in time for next week, because we'll be finishing them. All right, that's all I have for this evening. Until I get to see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, keep making, enjoy making those hats, make lots of hats, and then do please donate them to us here at the library, and I will take them over to a charity of our choice. And make sure that all of Pueblo gets to stay warm and cozy this winter breathing. All right, everyone, have a great night. Bye.